Holy smokes, look at all that milk. Ooh, we gotta get some cheese made pronto. So today the video is all about how we make our goat cheese. We make fresh goat cheese, or Chevre as it's called, or Chevre if you're a little bit less French. And I'm going to show you how we use it mainly here. We love it on our eggs. It's really good with sweet things like that, like jams and jellies and stuff. But we hope that after watching this video, if you have any goat's milk at your house or your farm or your homestead, we hope that you can use this video and make your own goat cheese there as well. Shaved ribeye, awesome. Breakfast links stuffed by the one and only Mrs. Cattywampus Lauren. Chorizo, also made by Miss Cattywampus. Yum. A lot of people are scared to try goat cheese for a second or third time because the goat cheese they had prior was sort of goaty tasting, as they called it. They say it tastes like a buck smells, or it just has like an off taste to it. Well, ours does not taste like that, and a lot of our friends who've tried it, who've tried other goat cheeses, also say the same thing and are very surprised that ours doesn't taste anything like that. And I think the main reason is two things. One of them is we keep our bucks away from our does that are in milk. We also do not feed alfalfa or alfalfa pellets to our goats. And if you watched our video on, look at that, here you go, bud. Also, if you watched our video on how to milk a goat, I'll put the link up in the video here. We basically talk a lot about what you feed your goats, and just like with anything, what you feed anything is going to come out in the flavor of that meat or that product. All right, so we had our delicious late breakfast with all of our good stuff from Jensen that Lauren chopped up and stuffed and all that other good stuff, and our delicious eggs, and we topped those eggs with our goat cheese. And so now I want to show you guys how we make our goat cheese. Is this the only way to make goat cheese? Certainly not. This is the way that we have found works the best to make our Chevre or Chevre, whatever you want to call it. But fresh crumbled goat cheese is what we're going to be making today. It requires no aging. It's from raw goat's milk. I believe there's probably some differences if you have pasteurized milk. You can check into that different, but this is mainly going to be focused towards people who need to know how to make cheese from their goat's milk, and I believe you can even do it from your cow's milk. If you use cow's milk, I do know that because of the homogenization, it may change it a little bit, and so I'm not sure. We haven't made it with cow's milk. We'll certainly try, but Chevre is a cheese that comes from fresh goat's milk. So goat's milk, if you did not know, is actually naturally homogenized, and so that's why you really don't get much cream. This is our raw goat's milk that's been sitting for a day or two, and you can see there's really not a cream line in there.
This is from a local farm. This is raw cow milk, and you can see the cream line there, and this has only been sitting a day or two, so yeah, you can see the difference.
So we will cover the things that you need for making this goat's milk. Now this, just to let you know, this is right around a 24-hour process. Okay, so we're gonna check back up with you. We'll check back up with you tonight, 12 hours from now, and then tomorrow, 12 hours after that. So, things we need.
This is a stainless steel pot. You don't want to use aluminum because it could have a reaction with your cultures and with your milk. So stainless steel has a lid. This one actually holds 2 gallons. So we've got that. Usually we make 2-gallon batches. Today we're going to only use 1 gallon and show you guys. So again.
And a slotted spoon that's stainless steel as well. Now we have 1 gallon. These are each half-gallon jars of goat's milk, and this is no more than a few days old. We also use, we have a quarter cup of distilled water because I don't like any of the chlorine. You don't want to kill any bacteria. We also use this. This is a rennet, and this is animal rennet. Okay, see if we can get that in focus. There. This is animal rennet. We got this off of Amazon, and it came from England. I'm not sure who in the United States does it, but I'll put a link to this down below for the Amazon link. This, if you did not know, rennet basically is derived from ruminant animals, the stomach lining and the stomach area from ruminant animals. So that's where animal rennet comes from. There is vegetable rennet if you're a vegetarian. It's up to you. We find that the animal rennet works very good. Important thing to remember is that there is also double strength rennet. It will completely change stuff. It's mind-blowing that the stuff literally with like a couple drops can turn gallons of milk into basically curds and just solidify it. And there also is, and you'll see other recipes out there where there's also recipes including lemon juice, and they use just lemon juice to curdle the milk. And so that's something you can look into. Today, we're using animal rennet. This is what we find works best, so that's what we're going with. We use this little thing that it came with, and we have it marked on here. It's because it's like 3/4 of a milliliter is what we use. Like I'm telling you, this is small amounts of this stuff. The other thing, put a link for this down below, and this is from, I believe it's New England Cheese Making Supply. If you can see this, this is mesophilic culture. You can make this on your own. We've never done it before. This is the culture that starts the whole process, and this is basically the bacteria that we're putting in. We store this in the freezer, as you can see, store in freezer. And so this is important, and it's important to remember that mesophilic culture, I don't believe actually works above 90 degrees. Lauren's got our infrared thermometer, and this is what we use. And so, I'm gonna give up. A lot of people you'll see use double boilers to make sure the milk doesn't scald. We've never had the issue. We don't use a double boiler. We use like a medium heat, and we stir it gently to make sure that it basically you don't get a big old caked layer of milk on the bottom and ruin your milk, because that would just jack the whole process up. And so you just want to slowly bring this up to 86 degrees. And so I will go ahead and the 1/4 cup of distilled water we have, we're going to mix our rennet in that. All right, so that's our little 3/4 of a milliliter of rennet. Make sure that all gets in there real good. And you want your water to be about room temperature. You don't ever want anything to be overly cold, overly hot, because you'll mess with that bacteria. And bacteria is the important part of cheese making. All right, it's been several minutes, and we are getting close. We're at 82 degrees. And like I said, we are looking for 86 degrees. Now if it goes to 87, don't throw your stuff away. We don't have to worry about that. All right. So we're at 86, everything's good to go. So now we got to move with our cultures and stuff. With the mesophilic culture, what you want to do, since I believe because it's like a dried powdered thing, you want to take a pinch of that. And Lauren's pinch isn't as big as mine. I would always say do a little bit more for Lauren, because I think it's good to get all that good bacteria in there. And we want to let this rehydrate for about 5 minutes. And so it's on there, and we're going to let that sit on top of the milk undisturbed for about 5 minutes. So we'll catch back with you in a second. Okay, we're back. It's been about roughly 5 minutes. Our mesophilic culture has rehydrated. And Lauren's going to gently basically go top to bottom and stir in the mesophilic culture. And a lot of people are really almost like crazy obsessed with how gentle or everything you have to be with this. I don't think it's that important. So the next thing we're going to do, now that our mesophilic's in there, next we're going to go ahead and put in that rennet that we had, that we put in the distilled water. So we're going to gently pour this in, and that'll be gently mixed in. A lot of people say don't stir more than 15 or 20 seconds. I don't know. It probably doesn't matter. I will say this, until we started using this rennet, we had a lot of hit and miss results. I don't know if it's as much the stirring as it is the actual rennet you're using. Okay, so we're going to put a lid on that, and we will be back in 12 hours to see our separation of curds and whey. So like I was saying, just make sure when you're rennet, if you're having sort of crappy results, with your cheese making, just check your rennet. We are no cheese experts by any means, but just make sure that if you're having, like, sometimes it's really soft and liquidy, sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's like really like spongy and like rubbery. If you're having those issues like we've had in the past, we noticed that it was the rennet. Okay, welcome back. It has been 12 hours, and so like I said, it's important that you have this go 12 hours, so make sure you time this properly so you're not up late at night like I am. Let's take a look and see what we got inside the pot. That's definitely what we're looking for. As you can see, we got separation. This is what they refer to as curds and whey. All this liquid out here is the whey, this is the curds. As you can see, what that rennet has done, you see it's actually turned it into a solid in here. Now this is what we're looking for when we're making our Chevre. So the things we use for this step are a strainer, colander, some sort, some kind of bowl. This is just a plastic bowl. And we use this cheesecloth. Do I know what kind it is? No, I don't know what kind it is. I know there are different sizes and everything, and I'll let you decide for yourself, but that's what we use. We just lay it across here. You're also going to need some type of something like this, some kind of wooden spoon or something that we're going to suspend the cheese from. And I'll show you that in 1 second. So now our next goal is to get these curds into the cheesecloth. Now the curd cutting can be really important if you're making different kinds of cheese like cheddars and things like that. But what we found is making this Chevre is really not overly important. Let me show you just a real close example of what we're looking for in our curds. So you see that? See how it's just a little bit spongy but still sort of wet. We don't want it to be rubbery. We don't want it to just mush away, so it's perfect. And the smell you should be smelling now is just a slightly tangy smell, almost like a yogurt. If you ever smelled like a plain, like a fresh plain yogurt, that's sort of what you get. And I'd say that's pretty good. So this step is the next one. There's no art form to it. We do it a couple times a week when we're making this. Nothing overly fancy. We just tie these over. We take the corners, tie them over, and we don't tie them overly tight, just basically make it into a bag. We're gonna take our wooden spoon here, and we're gonna tie this right across it so it sort of ties it into the knot. So now we have a suspended bag of cheese, if you will, from our spoon here. We're gonna move over here, and we just take this, sort of keep all these because these guys will sort of wick out the moisture. We make sure they're sort of above our bowl, because you want it to be above your bowl, because you come back in 12 hours and it hasn't been above your bowl, you're gonna have whey everywhere. And that, my friends, Cattywampus crew, that is hanging cheese after 12 hours. So we have just hung our curds, and as you can see here, let me zoom in for you. As you can see, this stream here is the whey draining out into our little bowl of whey here. Now we're gonna fast forward 12 hours into the future, and hopefully after 12 hours this won't be dripping anymore, and we will have some cheese in here ready to go. I'll say this, the whey, if you have pigs, the pigs love the whey. Welcome back. It has officially been our second 12 hours into our cheese making process, And this is the fun part. This is the part we get to take the cheesecloth down. Our curds have stopped dripping, and so all the whey is now in here. Decent amount of whey. We like to use a long, short container like this, and we will put our cheese into this and sort of spread it out with a fork. We'll go ahead and take it down. And you can definitely tell the difference now. The good thing is it's dry, but it's not really, really dry. All right. You should be left with something this after you take it out of the cheesecloth, and this is the texture we are looking for with the cheese that we make. You can see it's not rubbery, which we've had that before. It's not overly dry, which is also good. And so what we do, we take it, we will spread it out like this with a fork. Like I said, we make crumbled goat cheese. Now if you're gonna do something in a more traditional log, you may not do it the same way. Some people would be finished at this point. Some people like it just like this, but we like to salt ours. Occasionally we will add some herbs and spices, but typically what we like to do is add some kosher or cheese salt, which is a coarse salt. All right, got that spread out. Here is our coarse kosher salt, and I'm gonna do about 1 tablespoon or a little bit more of this. So take 1 tablespoon, probably a little heavy, 1 tablespoon, spread it out. We'll do about half of that, and we'll just get in here and work that around. And there's a couple things salt does. Not only gives it a little extra flavor and brings out the already good tangy flavor of the cheese, it also will stop the cultures from acting any further. All right, we'll do our second dusting here. All right, and also if you had any extra moisture, the salt would definitely help get that out, but this is typically what we end up with, just moist enough, but not slimy, nasty. After the 12 hours of separation and the 12 hours of hanging, it gives you the best flavor for at least raw goat cheese. And you can see how that sort of packs together. All right, so here is our finished product. This is the goat cheese we like it. As you can see, it stays on there, but we sort of keep it crumbled. Yeah, so it's on a cracker. Very good, perfect tanginess, good amount of salt. It definitely is good with preserves and things like that if you make preserves or if you have preserves. Very good with strawberries, also very good with honey, very tasty. We typically, if we're going to refrigerate and use it daily, I usually won't go more than about 7 days to maybe 10 days in the fridge. If it's something we're gonna keep longer, put it in the freezer, it's golden. You can keep it in the freezer for a decent amount of time with no issues. So I hope this helped. If you've never made goat cheese before, I hope this has been a help to you, and I hope that that you can use what we've shown you today, and you can take this and make goat cheese at home, and hopefully you see just how easy it is. It really is easy, and once you've done it a couple times and you've gotten your right rennet and your right culture and all that stuff that works very good for you, you'll be in business. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed and you're not one of our Cattywampus crew yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. If you like this video, please give us a like. Also consider hitting that bell notification that's right down here, and you can keep up to date with everything we're doing here on the farm. So for now, thank you for cheesing it up with us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.